He instead counted on his fingers, and that is what his companions counted on. And the Prophet ﷺ further said, فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. And whoever loves a sunnah other than my sunnah is not a true follower of mine. So for one to choose the sunnah of the Christians and the Hindus who count their dhikr, their ohms, whatever on beads, to choose that one over the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is doing it on the fingertips, then that indicates that one prefers another sunnah besides the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Now in terms of the khutbah which is done in English or in another language, etc., we have to consider what is the khutbah. Is the khutbah salah? No, the khutbah is not salah. The salah comes after the khutbah. The khutbah is a sermon. A sermon. Communication of information to a congregation. Now, if that information is said in a language which the congregation doesn't understand, then we don't have communication here. We have something else. So, we have, instead of that, we have the practice in some parts of the Muslim world where they have books in which all of the khutbahs for the whole year are there in Arabic, and they open these books and they sing the book. When the book is closed, they make the salah, and that was the khutbah. But this is not what was intended at all by the khutbah. This is just turning the khutbah into something else, a ritual, a blind ritual, whereas the khutbah is communication. It is information to be conveyed. And if the people you're conveying that information to do not understand what you're saying, then you are not fulfilling the basic condition of the khutbah. What needs to be there in the khutbah is the mention of Allah. There needs to be in the khutbah mention of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There should be in the khutbah something from the Quran. There should be in the khutbah something from hadith. These are the requirements of the khutbah. Language, Arabic language, is not a requirement. Salah is something else. The salah whose form is fixed. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. That is fixed. It should be in Arabic. Is it permissible for a man to take a second wife if he is not financially taking care of his first wife? No, it is not. Absolutely not. If he is unable to take care of his first wife, it is haram for him to take a second wife. Especially if it means he forces his first wife to go and work, or he forces both of his wives to go and work, or he forces them to be on welfare, or whatever. In other words, he's not taking care of business. He is supposed to be the maintainer of the household. He earns and he looks after his family. He shouldn't turn them into beggars, because to take welfare is to be a beggar, to put one's hands out to the disbelievers. This is begging. I know some brothers choose to go on welfare rather than work, but this is haram. If we are able to work and we choose to beg, then this is sinful, it is forbidden, it is haram in Islam to beg. Prophet ﷺ said that the person who is able to earn and begs, he will come before Allah with no skin on his face on the Day of Judgment. I was wondering if monodiglycerides is halal or haram. Well, I really don't know what monodiglycerides is, so I really can't say. Is dyeing your hair any other color except black halal for women? In general, we can say it is halal. But when does one dye one's hair? Is it when you have a full head of black hair and you just like to be blonde because blondes have more fun? No. This is not the time. This is not when it's permissible for you to go and dye your hair. Prophet ﷺ said, dye your gray. When your hair is going gray, the Prophet ﷺ recommended that you dye it. You dye it in a color other than black. But now dyeing the hair, every week, one week you're a redhead, the next week you're a blonde, the week after you're a brunette, no. This is not what is meant by dyeing your hair. This is imitating the way of the kuffar. As you change your dress, you change your hair color to match your dress or whatever. Women and power in Islam. The hadith that you I guess gave early, that any woman that gives the position of leadership to a woman will be doomed. Is this hadith authentic? Yes, it is authentic. Because I know of a hadith that states that the Christians and Jews believe that whosoever gives power to women is doomed. However, the hadith of women, no, this one is very clear, it is known, it is authentic, and the Muslim Ummah has been practicing that for the last 1,400 years until Benazir Bhutto. Is suicide bombing part of jihad? For example, what is happening in the Middle East, if there is no other means to do jihad? Well, what is labeled as suicide bombing in fact, according to the majority of the scholars, is not really suicide. If in the case of jihad, where Muslims do not have the necessary weaponry or means to attack the enemy directly, and a Muslim or the Imam calls on some Muslims to come forth and to strap bombs around themselves and to go in the midst of the enemy, to go in the midst of the enemy army and blow up as many of the enemy as possible, this is considered to be a part of jihad. This is not suicide. Suicide is when a person doesn't like this life anymore. They are tired with life. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. They don't want to live. I can't stand to live. I want to leave this life. I want to get out. I want to give up. That is the intention. The person takes their life. Whereas in the case of suicide bombing, this is not the case of those people who are doing that. They're not tired of life. They are involved in a military struggle. However, I should mention that in my view, what is going on in Palestine today is not correct. Though the principle of suicide bombing, what they call that, is a legitimate means of struggle, of jihad, etc., in my view, that circumstance that is going on there is not legitimate Islamically. Why? Because they are not in a position to carry on jihad. أَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. Prepare what power you have for them to fight. If you don't have the power, then it is not in your interest to go and fight where you're throwing stones at tanks. They are firing these rubber-coated bullets and maiming and crippling how many young children? For what? Is that struggle going to bring back Palestine?